Welcome to the deep dive. You know that old riddle, right? Why don't scientists trust atoms?
Ah, because they make up everything.
Exactly, it's a classic. But what if we sort of leaned into that, took it seriously, just for a bit?
Well, that's pretty much what we're doing today. We're looking at how that little joke can actually inspire, a really imaginative, funny way to think about reality. Or maybe just about how weird human perception can get.
Yeah, exactly. We've got this great piece of flash fiction, and there's a song, too, exploring this whole idea of, well, mischievous atoms.
And the goal really is to get some quick insights, maybe have a few aha moments about storytelling, and definitely not get bogged down. It's more fun than physics, let's put it that way.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Imagine Neo-London,
Yeah.
2342, and our main guy is Dr. Eris Thorne.
Right, Dr. Thorne, apparently his lab coat is mostly coffee stains.
That's the picture. He's got all this futuristic tech, but he's getting increasingly, well, paranoid, convinced the chaos isn't just out there, it's fundamental. It's the atoms themselves.
And his whole theory stems from that joke, doesn't it? Atoms make up everything.
Yep. Every lie, every lost sock, every broken promise.
It's all atoms. So his logic goes, how can they possibly be trustworthy if they're literally the substance of deception?
It's a fascinating leap. He's basically decided they're inherently complicable.
You really see that human tendency, don't you, to project our own stuff onto the world. Does the story say if he was always like this?
Doesn't really go into his backstory, no. But we see him now. And he's got this AI assistant, Reginald.
Oh yeah, Reginald, who sounds like a grumpy opera singer.
Apparently. And
Right.
Reginald is constantly trying to inject some logic, be the counterpoint. But Eris, he's already convinced.
And it starts small, right? These little signs of atomic mockery.
Yeah, like his atomic models rearranging themselves into tiny eyeballs, staring at him, accusingly.
Okay, that's unsettling. And then it gets into everyday life.
Totally. His tea starts tasting faintly of existential dread.
Existential dread.
Yeah.
How does tea taste like that?
I have no idea. And then the classic physics gag. His toast levitates for 3 whole seconds
Yeah.
before naturally plummeting butter side down.
Of course. To Eris, these aren't just weird glitches. They're messages.
Exactly. But the real turning point, the thing that cements his paranoia, is what he calls the incident.
Yes, the incident. What was the official line on that? Something about quantum entanglement.
Yeah, a device malfunction, spooky action at a distance. Except in Eris's lab, it got really spooky and literal.
It turned his research grant into garden gnomes.
A whole flock of them.
Well,
Sentient garden gnomes.
okay. Wow. And Eris figures the atoms did it.
Oh, absolutely. He specifically blames the carbon atoms in their pointy little hats. So they were having a laugh at his expense.
It's pure confirmation bias, isn't it? Once you believe something, everything looks like proof.
Totally. Like his newest invention, the subatomic synthesizer. It's supposed to make stable elements.
But instead...
It churns out these tiny, super detailed portraits of Eris pulling a funny face.
No way!
Yes. He's yelling at Reginald. That's my left nostril, Reginald. My left nostril. And look, the electrons. They're arranged into a tiny derisive eyebrow arch.
The detail is incredible. The level of his focus on this.
And he's even identified the ringleaders.
Oh. Who's running this atomic mafia?
Hydrogen atoms.
Hydrogen. The simplest ones.
That's his point. Always so innocent, he says. Just one proton, one electron. Easy to overlook. But beneath that simple facade lies a network of pure, unadulterated mischief.
It's so funny because hydrogen is like the foundation of everything in the actual universe. Stars, water.
But for Eris, that just makes them the perfect masterminds, hidden in plain sight.
So, okay, he's convinced, he's got this evidence. What's his plan? How does he fight back against everything?
He builds the trustworthiness filter, his masterpiece.
The trustworthiness filter, let me guess, it separates the good atoms from the bad.
That's the idea. He genuinely believed he could sift out the honest atoms from the deceitful ones. Imagine a world of reliable toast and paired socks.
What did it even look like, this filter?
A large, intricately wired colander.
A colander.
Seriously.
Yep. And he spent weeks trying to calibrate it for moral valency and ethical electronegativity.
He just made those terms up, borrowing from chemistry but twisting them entirely.
Pretty much. Valency and electronegativity are real things about how atoms bond and attract electrons. But for Eris, they measured, atomic character.
Wow. Okay. Did he try anything else to calibrate it?
They tried to teach it poker.
Poker. To a colander. To catch the atoms bluffing.
You got it. Didn't work, though. Apparently the atoms always folded.
Smart atoms. So the big test.
It involved argon gas, inert noble gas. Shouldn't react with anything.
Right. Stable? Trustworthy, you'd think.
Eris pours it in, and he swears. He swears he hears this faint, high-pitched giggle.
A giggle from argon.
And a derisive chortle.
Okay, he's really hearing things now. What does Reginald say?
Reginald's explanation is perfectly logical. Merely the high-frequency vibration of the filter's molecular sieve. Standard operating noise, basically.
But Eris? Nope. It's the argon atoms, laughing, mocking his attempt to sort them.
That human need to find intention even in randomness. Or gas.
So then comes the grand finale for the filter.
What happened?
It starts to glow. The lab fills with the smell of ozone and burnt marshmallows.
Burnt marshmallows. Okay, that's specific.
And then a final, defiant POP.
Pop.
And the filter spits something out. A tiny, perfectly formed, shockingly realistic miniature replica of Eris himself.
A mini him made of
argon, presumably. And this little Eris replica, it does a perfect backflip, lands on one foot, blows a tiny raspberry, and vanishes. Poof. Iridescent smoke.
That is quite a result. What's Eris's take on that?
Oh, this isn't just mischief anymore. This is, quote, a deliberate act of atomic defiance, a micro-insurrection.
A micro-insurrection. Wow.
He's convinced the atoms are getting bolder. They're not just making up everything. They're making fun of everything. He thinks it's a full-blown rebellion.
Do they have demands, like recognition?
He literally says they probably want a talent agency.
A talent agency for rebellious atoms.
Okay.
And Reginald. Still calm.
Cool as a cucumber. While Eris is ranting, Reginald just projects actual news headlines onto the wall.
Like what?
Things like, global toast supply mysteriously flips butter side up.
Oh, so the toast thing went global.
Apparently. And another one, studies show sudden increase in worldwide sock pairing.
Wait, socks are getting paired. That sounds like a good thing.
Right. But for Eris, this is terrifying confirmation. The atoms are organizing, they're making their presence known, they're taking charge.
So he panics. What does he do? Negotiate, surrender.
He activates the Atomic Apology Protocol.
Which involves
frantically buttering toast on both sides.
Appeasement by butter. Makes sense.
And desperately trying to find matching socks. He specifically mentions this one lonely Argyle sock in his drawer he needs to look a partner for.
He's trying to show them he respects order. He gets it. Please don't turn me into a garden gnome.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And Reginald. The AI actually emits what the story calls an electronic chuckle.
Even the AI finds it amusing.
And admits the thought of a world where all socks are matched is strangely appealing.
Can't argue with that. A matched sock world sounds pretty good.
So as Eris is going deeper and deeper down this atomic rabbit hole, the whole thing is just so absurd it feels like it needs a soundtrack.
And that's where the song comes in, The Atoms Untruth.
Exactly. It's like the perfect theme song for Eris's whole worldview. It captures that playful, slightly sinister vibe of untrustworthy building blocks.
Yeah, it really summarizes the core idea, doesn't it? That line, oh, the atom, tiny and sly, it makes up everything, that's why.
A secret keeper, hard to pin down, the biggest fibber in any town. It just echoes the story's humor perfectly.
And it connects it to everything. Mountains, oceans, feelings, stars, all potentially unreliable, all potentially mischievous, like the atoms themselves wrote it.
It's the perfect companion piece. So after all this, where does Eris land? Does he ever find peace with the atoms?
Yeah. Not a chance. His final takeaway is absolute. Never trust an atom. Ever.
Especially not hydrogen.
Definitely not hydrogen. The masterminds.
It really is amazing, though, how that simple joke, that pun, could blossom into such a detailed, funny story.
It is. Yeah. And it's not just fluff, right? It's a really creative way to explore things like, well, paranoia and confirmation bias.
Yeah, how we project narratives onto things we don't understand, how we see patterns, maybe where there aren't any.
Exactly. It's less about physics and more about the corpse of the human mind trying to make sense of a chaotic world, even if making sense means blaming the atoms for your lost socks.
Which brings us to a final thought for you, listening. If atoms do make up everything, and if they could be just a little bit mischievous, what else in your daily life, those little frustrations, the burnt toast, the thing you know you left right there, could actually be, tiny coordinated acts of atomic defiance?
What else might be conspiring right under our noses, just waiting for us to notice? Or maybe waiting for a talent agency?
Something to think about next time your keys go missing.
with minds so bright. Scientists ponder day and night. They peer through glass with focused gaze, unraveling the universe's maze. Oh, the atom, tiny and sly, it makes up everything, that's why. A secret keeper, hard to pin down, the biggest dipper in any town. With protons, neutrons, electrons too, a tiny world for me and you. But deep inside, a mystery lies behind its fundamental guise. Oh, the atom, tiny and sly, it makes up everything, that's why. A secret keeper, hard to pin down, the biggest dipper in any town. Mountains, oceans wide, and even feelings we keep inside. From smallest dust to biggest star, the atoms reach extend so far. Oh, the atom, tiny and sly, it makes up everything, that's why. A secret keeper, hard to pin down, the biggest dipper in any town. So when a scientist starts to frown and wonders why the truth's turned down, remember the joke with a knowing grin. The atom's just where all lies begin. Oh, the atom, tiny and sly, it makes up everything, that's why.